This is a communist tax, it's called, and it's never used. Nobody's ever even heard of using it. But it's no good, and it's something that we're not going to let happen, because we will be driven into a depression the likes of which we probably only seen in 1929. Kamala Harris.
That was Donald Trump telling one of his favorite lies about the possibility of a 1929-style depression if Kamala Harris is elected president, the same lie he told about President Biden, who oversaw an explosion in the stock market, a surge, a historic rise, and hitting new highs every single day. But of course, it is our expectation that Donald Trump's speeches are full of lies. But what we don't expect to happen is what happened today. Donald Trump stunning his crowd into absolute silence. And on that crowd, it was pretty small and humiliating for Donald Trump. And of course, that always gets under his skin, so much so that he was screaming at his tiny crowd in this speech today. It was an absolute disaster, an absolute mess, filled with lies, filled with rage, filled with grievance, and filled with hilarious moments for us, not the failing Trump campaign, that we are going to look at. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy the work that we're doing on this channel, to hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way. Now let's get into the rest of this crazy speech.
Last election, we did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know we did much better in 2020. We won. We did win. It was a rigged election. You have to tell Kamala Harris, that's why I'm doing it again. If I thought I lost, I wouldn't be doing this again.
Donald Trump really just can't help but double down on the dumb and dangerous for him. He is only going to get himself into more legal trouble attacking Jack Smith, and the evidence against him is so incredibly damning. Not only that he was trying to attack our election, that he was trying to attack our democracy. We know that to be clear, but of course now we know even more. It is further solidified that Donald Trump was acting with his stooges as a private citizen in an attempt to do so. Donald Trump is so deep in legal trouble. He is not running for president, as we always say. He is running to escape accountability, running away from jail. And that is why he is so deranged. He is so angry. He is so full of grievance, yet he is not entertaining to his crowd. Like I said, we are going to see the moment in which they fall silent in just a little bit. But I thought before we got to that, we'd check out this hilarious clip of a Trump supporter. Look to the bottom right of Donald Trump to see one of MAGA's reactions to his speech.
I wear it. It's true.
Oh, man. You could see, I do hope Trump sees that a little bit later. The yawn. Getting tired of Donald Trump. Even his own MAGA cult is bored with him. They are bored with his rants about crowd size that we are going to check out in just a second. They are bored of his conspiracies and his lies and his ramblings about Hannibal Lecter and windmills. And he has a new rambling lie and conspiracy that he wants to talk about, something he clearly doesn't understand, and that's rare earth metals, which he was talking about here.
Us could do this, but we're in position to do it. Instead, we're going all electric, and we don't have that. Although we do have some, and it's usually controlled by the environmentalists. We're going to uncontrol it pretty quick. It's called rare earth. We have some great rare earth science areas, but we're not allowed to touch it.
Trump trying out some new material. It seems that didn't really land, but of course Donald Trump could not focus on anything for that long unless it was the nagging little voice in his head telling him to yell about crowd size. Of course, Donald Trump has been complaining nonstop about his shrinking crowds because even MAGA is tired and bored with him. And we saw that rant right here. And then we're going to check out just how tiny this crowd was today.
You got to think of it. I just left Wisconsin. We 5 days ago, we had a sort of a rally. It wasn't supposed to be. 60,000 people showed up in Wisconsin. But the White House wouldn't give us proper security coverage. So we end up in a room of about 900 people. You have 60,000 people, 50 to 60,000 people outside waiting, but they don't want that because they don't want crowds. What they are doing is such a disgrace to our country. And so to those people in Wisconsin that didn't make it, I think they love us, and I think they're going to vote. By the way, we're up in all of the polls. We're up in every swing state.
It's so funny to me that Donald Trump is blaming President Biden for his tiny crowd. He was barely in a gymnasium today, and he couldn't even fill that up. He is so angry by how unappealing he is, even to his cult, how unentertaining he is. He is just boring to them. And that is why very quickly the Kamala Harris campaign put together this funny little video showing just how empty the crowd was at Donald Trump's speech today.
And who else can fill up? Only MAGA. But whoever fills big places like this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? We're going to be meeting. We're going to think of it.
Please keep pushing his buttons. Please keep mocking him. Please keep upsetting him over the thing he loves the most, and that is his crowd size, which keeps getting, like President Obama put so perfectly, smaller and smaller, much like something else that clearly gets Donald Trump insecure. And we're not going to talk about what that thing is, but something that we can talk about that is small for Donald Trump is his brain. And that was incredibly clear in this new rant that he's starting to do about hydrogen-powered cars, hydrogen fuel cells, and he just really stunned his crowd into silence. Look at the faces behind him of the people just concerned and confused as he's talking about something he clearly doesn't understand right here.
Powered cars, we're going to have hybrids. We might someday have hydrogen. Did you ever hear of hydrogen? That's the new thing. That's the new hot thing. No, hydrogen's the hottest thing going. It's too hot. You know what happens? When there's a problem, it's bad. The car blows up, and you're not even recognizable when this happens. It's like, it's a disaster. They tell me about, and I say, are there any problems? Well, there's one problem. When a car goes bad and when it blows up, the person driving the car is not recognizable. So I think I'm going to pass on that particular car, if that's it. They said, oh, well, we'll figure it out. I said, you better do a lot of figuring because this does not sound good. It's not off to a good start. Well,
Oh, man. He's just such, let's put it bluntly, he's a moron. He has no idea what he's talking about. I'm surprised he didn't mention his relationship to MIT that makes him such a stable genius, as we have seen so many times before. But not only was Donald Trump shocking his crowd and boring his crowd, and of course getting his crowd to leave because they could not take it anymore, he was insulting his crowd. There were members of the Teamsters Union, one of the many Teamsters unions in Michigan, and Donald Trump decided that he would start attacking union labor during his speech. And even in this moment, too, you could see just how uncomfortable the crowd was, and I want to check it out.
Overtime. I used to hate to pay overtime. When I was in the private sector, as they say, oh, I don't want over. You know, I shouldn't tell you this. I'd go out and get other people and let them work regular time. It's terrible.
And you could see the union members behind him just kind of confused with what he was saying, but they're the ones who are clearly confused. If you're voting for Donald Trump as a card-carrying union member, you're voting against your own self-interest. It's incredibly clear, but that's just what the MAGA cult does. They are in a cult. They care about Donald Trump more than they seem to care about their own well-being or the well-being of democracy or our country at large. All they're there for is the anger and division that Donald Trump sows, like he did in this clip right here.
See what's happened with Springfield and Aurora. You see what happened, Springfield, Ohio. You see what's happening. Would you like to have that happen to you?
That is incredibly sad. How ingrained in their mind this xenophobic behavior is. These feelings of hatred towards legal immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, who are revitalizing that community with the incredible work that they are doing. It's just gross, and it's sad to see. They are bringing an economic boom to that community, and they are beloved in that community, and yet Donald Trump and his cult is attacking them and lying about them, much like Donald Trump has been lying about the hurricane relief aid that President Biden has been providing. And he said that right here.
They're dying, and they're getting no help from our federal government because they have no money, because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country.
This is just gross. Donald Trump in 2017, when Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina was requesting disaster relief aid, Donald Trump approved 1% of the aid they requested. And now he's lying. There was a breaking report today about members of Donald Trump's team having to show him polling data for certain communities in California for Donald Trump to send them aid after the horrific wildfires that ravaged that state. Department
of Education, you say, what the hell do all these people do? Here's what I need. I need one good person, let's say, to be the secretary, and then I need a real secretary that takes stenography. I need 2 people because I just want them to make sure they teach English.
For someone who clearly has very little education, it's surprising to see how much Donald Trump talks about it, how little he knows. All he knows is that he wants to attack every institution, undermine any organization in our government working for good that he possibly can. That is his Project 2025 agenda in a nutshell. But of course, he also wanted to talk about the accomplishments of his administration, which are lies. But he said it right here.
To lower, I gave you the biggest tax cut in history, and we're going lower because we're going to rely on so many other things.
Yes, Donald, you provided tax cuts for the rich, and that's it. So I don't really think that's a huge win of your administration, except for you and your rich friends. I guess you guys like that. But we have to continue to call out these lies, and we will every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.